Will Trump's new tariffs crash the markets for Bitcoin and for the stock market? We've all just seen that Trump is back with his tariffs. 25% extra on key US allies, Japan, Korea, and 12 more other countries. Also, we're going to show you some key stats of where the whales for both Ethereum and Bitcoin, how they're positioning for the new Trump tariffs, and what's going to be happening to Bitcoin at these key levels, and why, Wall Street calls Trump taco. Trump yesterday also threatened additional 10% tariffs on anti-American BRICS nations, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And plus, they just had the meeting where they got some new members on board, such as Iran, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, key oil nation, and a bunch of others. But look, it's not a military alliance, right? It's more of a trading, economic alliance. But look where the key is. President Trump previously warned 100% tariffs if alliance replaced the US dollar as reserve currency. Now he's saying additional 10%. It's gone from 100% to now 10%. And I think that's exactly why the market says Trump is taco. It's not exactly because Trump is soft or weak, but that's just part of his entire negotiation strategy. What he does is basically comes in and he says, all right, 100% tariffs, when he knows that's a bluff. Right? When he knows he's going to reduce it back down to like 20%, 15%, 12%, maybe even 10%, right? Because that's what he has in his mind. But to get a good bargain, when you're negotiating any sort of deal, art of the deal, you always come up and ask for a huge number. For the stock market, I don't think this would cause a large pullback. We might have a deeper pullback, but that's a technical pullback because look at this. This is probably the biggest 6-week bounce in S&P 500 history, US stock market history. So if we had a pullback, that's only natural, and it's technical, it's not news driven. So for Bitcoin, I've marked out this bull flag, and we've been flirting with a breakout of this bull flag. And I said if we were to trade back inside this bull flag, it would be really bearish. And then we would see a retest of 100K. And going to high 90s or even mid 90s is fully entirely possible, and I wouldn't take that option off the table. So let's see what the whales are doing, how they are reacting to all this. This is about the bid versus offer. When there's a lot more bid than the ask, then it means the whales are buying, right? Because you and I can buy at the market, but whales, when they want to buy 500 million, $2 billion worth of Bitcoin, or they want to sell $2 billion of Bitcoin, they can't just hit the market. They have to place their offer or their bid like 1%, 2%, 5% away from the market and just hope prices will swing and hit their bid or hit their offer. From this signal, we generate these sell signals or buy signals. The green, and it's got B written on it, has been a buy signal. The reds with S, of course, is a sell signal. And look how well it works, right? When Bitcoin was down here in the 60s, it's been a S or sell signal for a while now, and then turns into B, right, at about 65K, and then, right, and it constantly turns into B, green B signal, and here up we go. Sell signals coming around 90K, then it came in around 100K, then it came in around 100K consistently, and by this time, right, when it got to 109K, then basically it became predominantly a sell signal telling us to get out. If you look at what's happening here, it's kind of very similar to what's happening here. And it was one of the reasons, one of the indicators I look at, and I've been saying pull back to mid 90s, we got to 98.1K, nearly to 97K, right? If it's 97, I'd probably say that's probably what you call mid 90s. And then now notice this, we're starting to see patches of green here, patches of green, and then mixed with patches of red. What does that tell you? Well, it tells me that the situation is kind of similar to here. See, here we had patches of green, patches of red, and then price dipped, and then we saw more consistent patches of green, and then the big up leg, bull run leg is on. So I think that's what's likely to happen here. Bigger patches of red in the next few days when this trade tariff deal plays out, but people are not scared enough to make this sort of dump because of the tariffs. But so far, that's the scenario I'm looking at. I've said this is the scenario for me all along, and now it's basically just a confirmation of what I've said all along, seeing how the whales behave.